I have a client that reaches out to me and she says, Eric, husband and I are planning on just selling our house and moving into my parents' house. We're gonna build out, a nice extension. We'll live in the extension. My parents will live where they live and we'll live happily ever after. I'm like, wow, okay, perfect. So how do you plan on financing all this stuff? We get into the details and she says, well, we're gonna sell our house. We're gonna use the proceeds to do this renovation. I'm like, okay, do you have any quotes? Yeah, I have quotes. I've been working with a couple of contractors. This has been ongoing for a couple of weeks now. I was like, okay, so talk to me. So she tells me that we go through the numbers and it turns out she's gonna be well short. Here's the thing with construction. You can't go halfway and then expect to find a lender to finish off the rest of the half. There's very, very slim pickings and it's going to be very, very expensive and a horrible process altogether. So ideally what you want is to work with one lender from start to finish and move on your merry way. That's ideal. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have enough finances built up in advance. She didn't. And so I said, okay, tell the contractors to pump the brakes because you don't want them to break ground and this to be a chaotic mess. She's like, yeah, I definitely don't, Eric. The contractors had started, but with just a septic tank. They were just replacing the existing septic tank, so that's not a problem, right? That's not a problem at all. So I said, okay, tell your contractors to pump the brakes. We're gonna get this sorted out first, and then you can resume, okay? So let's figure out the best course of action here. So we know that mom and dad's house is free and clear. There's no mortgage on it, okay? We know inevitably that she wants to purchase the house. So I'm like, okay, why don't you ask mom and dad if they be open and just you purchasing the house now? And so she reaches out, she says, actually, Eric, they're okay. They want me to buy the house now. I was like, that works perfectly. So here's the way it's gonna work. So you and your husband are gonna buy this house from mom and dad, okay? And with the proceeds from that, they will fund the construction on the house. And so from there, we'll have a large wad of cash. And from there, we'll have a large wad of cash to work with to complete the project. Does that make sense? And she said, yeah, obviously. Yeah, that makes sense. Anything to make it easy. I was like, that's probably the easier way to go. Here's the thing, my clients are super happy with the way everything went. It was super smooth, no issues, no hiccups. They had enough capital to do what they needed to do with the very minimum amount of stress, because it is still a stressful thing to go through, but minimal stress. But my clients were lucky to have someone like me that they can know, like, and trust for everything debt related, so that they can reach out to me and say, hey, Eric, what do you think of this? So that's what I encourage everyone to have, because you can avoid a whole bunch of chaotic messes.